Hello everyone, I'm Jerri Heer and I am one of the instructors at William Holland School of Lapidary Arts. Today we are going to explore making a gem tree. I specialize in species-specific trees, and the species that we're working on today is going to be a cherry blossom. There are several different parts to that. The first thing that I typically do is make the blossoms themselves because they have to kind of sit and dry overnight. So I'm going to go through the different tools that I use. This is the glue. It's called Professional Welder. It's similar to E6000. It's a glue that's permanent, waterproof, clear drying, and has a flexible bond. Then I've got a tool to cut wire, a tool to bend wire, and this is the tool to twist wire, a scoop for my stones, and then the wire that we're using is actually 24 gauge copper core craft wire. This is my handy pocket knife, and it happens to have a nice little set of tweezers in it. So when I'm making these blossoms, I'm using apple blossom shells. They're very tiny little guys. But we're going to put them together on baking parchment and make them into blossoms that will go onto the tree. Because I'm doing species-specific trees, I do the best I can to try to imitate the genuine tree. So these blossoms are going to have 5 petals, which is common for a cherry blossom. So I'm going to take each one of these little shells and kind of insert it into a dollop of glue. And I actually nest them right behind each other, kind of in a pinwheel design. And once I get the blossom assembled, this is a toothpick silicone earplug material, and I take a tiny little piece of rhodonite, and that becomes the pink center of the blossom. So I'll do a couple more just to make sure you get the concept. You kind of scoop and insert the shell into the glue. And put a little tiny pink stone in the center. And that's how you end up with your blossoms. Baking parchment is the only thing that I've found that actually releases the shells easily for use later. So we're going to set those aside to dry. I already have some pre-made for us to use. Now we're going to work on the tree itself. This particular design, I use, like I said, 24 gauge black craft wire, and it's copper core, which makes it fairly soft and easy to bend. The design actually uses 24 branches, and the actual twisting process, you take a wire, and I've got them pre-cut to the right size for what I need. Double it so that you have a loop at the end, and this tool is just a cup hook and a dowel. It's very simple. This is a really low-tech art form. Hook it in there, and then you use your finger to control the tension. So I'm going to twist it about 4 or 5 times, and that one loop is one leaf. Then from there, I'm going to go out and make another loop about the same length as the first one. And that makes 2. Now this particular type of tree has asymmetrical leaves, meaning they're alternating as opposed to directly opposite each other. So I twist down a little bit in between to give it a stem. And then I'm going to use my longest leg, because I had one at the top, one to one side, and now I'm going to do one to the other side. Make another loop about the same size. I'm going to twist another stem with which I'll be able to twist the tree together. And that's one branch. This particular tree, because my goal was to try to set it up to be a kind of an Asian minimalist design. Cherry blossoms come from Japan, or at least the trees that we are most famous for in Washington, D.C. And so I wanted the tree to start small, but build a trunk fairly thickly. So what I did is I actually made it so that there were a lot of branches. So that's one branch. Now the second branch I'm going to do with only 2 leaves on it. So I offset that wire, bring it to the loop again. Put my finger in there so that I do that twist. Then I'm going to use that longest leg again to twist it. And that's all that's necessary for that branch, except twisting a stem. And that's the second branch. Now I'm going to attach it to this one by folding it in. I basically insert that in this V of those 2 lines, and I kind of braid it in order to make it hold together or fold lock in so that it's snug together. And then I'm going to do one more. Also offsetting it. Use my finger to control. My second one. And a stem again. Now I'm done with that tool. I'm going to twist this one together. Basically, when I twist them in, I do them directly like a 90-degree angle. So I'm going to twist it in here, put that like that, kind of braid and fold lock it in, twist that down. And that's basically a cluster of branches. Now, this is half of the tree. This is the other half, so it kind of builds in a symmetrical fashion. So I've got a set like this. I'm going to now fold it into this set. Do the same braid and fold lock it in. Now I'm going to take this other set, which is the equivalent of it, and I'm going to fold lock that in with the same fashion. And then I'm going to take this other half and put it together in the same way. Put that in there, fold it down. Now it does start to get a little stiff here because now I've got basically 24 legs of this heavy-duty wire. And that is your tree, which will spread out to put leaves and blossoms on. Now you have to develop a root system for it. So I'm going to take this out. There's 24 branches in here, so that's 48 legs, which is 3 times 18. So I divide it up into thirds. There's something that is aesthetically pleasing to odd numbers for your brain. It looks for that. So I try to divide it up in odd numbers. Trunks, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18. And from this side, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18. And so I've got 3 sets, and I'm going to twist each one of those just a couple of twists to start that triple root. I'm going to divide that out. 3, 6, 9, 12. I'm going to do a little set of 6 to the side here. Divide that up to 3 and 3. And I'm twisting fairly tightly here because I want the wires to stick together so that when I apply it to the stone base, I don't have little odd wires going every which way. I want it to be pretty tight. And that's going to be 12. I split that into 6 and 6, and split those 6s into 3 and 3, and twist those down. And we use our wire cutters and cut off the excess because we only want a small amount of root there. And you can see how that creates kind of an elaborate root system for it. And this is going to repeat here and here. And then what we're going to do is put it on the base and glue that down. So that's kind of how it's going to end up, obviously, with all the other sections all completed as well. All right, so I'll set that aside for now. I've got another one ready to go. So I'm going to show you what we're going to do about putting on the leaves and the blossoms. The way I've designed this, it's because I want both items to show. I'm going to set it up so that I have a leaf, a blossom, a leaf, a blossom, a leaf, a blossom, a leaf. So it's alternating through the whole thing. This is silicone earplug material. It's on the end of a toothpick, and it's tacky like a wax, so it will pick up the stone. So I can put a little dab of glue, and since I'm alternating my leaves, I'm going to do leaf there, a leaf there, a leaf there, and a leaf there. And I can pick that up and set that leaf on there. There we go. Now these blossoms right here, I've done in advance, so they're already ready. Sometimes you may have to take a little pair of scissors and trim off excess glue from the bottom of it just so that it doesn't show. But you can see how readily and easily it comes off of the baking parchment. So we're going to take a couple of blossoms here, and I'm going to put a little dab of glue on each one of those loops and pick up a blossom and just lay it on top. And you can see how that branch is going to go. Now, obviously, the finished product's going to have all of those things done, but it's just repeating that throughout the rest of the tree.